All right, so this is about where it's gonna be. We got it all hooked up. We got our upper hose on. We got our lower hose all on there. Extended the mass airflow sensor. It's actually plugged in down here. This is pretty solid, but I am gonna make a mount, I think, from here down to the fender well somewhere. I just want to hear this thing bark off. I got all the vacuum leaks plugged up. Should fire, theoretically. It should. Battery's charged. All right, let's see. All right, here goes. Doesn't feel right. Looks like something's engaged. I wonder if that transmission's actually doing something when it's trying to fire. Let's look. So I decided to use my brain and see what we got the scanner saying. Okay, we got a 405 stored. Pressure switch, low input. I don't think that's even plugged in. More gases. Evaporative system, pressure switch, input low. Okay. Let's erase all of them. All right. Now what do we get? Nothing. So, those are the things that I believe are deleted. In fact, I know they're what's deleted, but we're gonna check for spark. All right, so the test light right there, watch it, should flash when I crank it. Well, was it? So usually that means cam position sensor or TPS sensor is bad with no spark, or that computer is not VATS deleted. So I guess I'm gonna check out a couple things, see if I got 12 volts at the coil. Hopefully I do, and if not, I'm going to plug away. I might pull the computer out of Angus and put it in here, see if it fires. That'd be good. And if I do that, maybe I know damn well it's the VATS in this one. But we'll see. Well, I'm back out here again today and working on this 1988 C10 here. Doing electrical stuff. Yeah, more electrical stuff. So I went through, multimetered up all my fuses, made sure that all those were good in the box and they were not blown. There was a couple that were questionable, so I went through and I changed them out. And now, you know, we got blinkers, front and back, both sides, except for when we turn the lights on. I don't know what's going on there. Turn the lights off though. We got blinker, but also let me show you this when we got the passenger side blinker going. You can see that it's over there, just blinking away like it's supposed to. Problem is over here, this peanut bulb is very dim. This one was doing it earlier, but I think we got a ground issue. So I'm going to, I think, get underneath the backside here, and I'm gonna look and see where the grounds are at. Take them apart, clean them up, put them back together. Hopefully that solves our issue. And then I need to run a wire from that backup beeper all the way to the front, because we got to put a toggle switch on it so we can kill it when we don't want it. Running on. Yeah. Yeah, you know, the words are hard today. Words are hard today. Well, getting under here, you can see there's our ball of wires we got. That goes over driver's side, of course, passenger side, and just at first glance, you can notice that there is a break in what appears to be a ground, but it's a ground to the bumper, which is weird. I don't know, maybe that's where they just decided to put it because it was easy with some weird fusible link thing. But we also don't have any license plate lights hooked up either, which kind of figured. This is our backup beeper right there. That is where we have to undo this right here, run this cable, this ground, all the way up to the front of the truck, and we'll just put a toggle switch on the ground side and ground it in there, and that'll be good to go. But what I'm thinking here is probably just put another piece of wire in this. I'm assuming that's a ground, because it looked like it would have connected at some point with maybe some kind of connector or something. I don't know. But we'll try to ground this out. I'll probably put an alligator clip and we'll just run it to right here and utilize what we already have. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, that's not the ground. This is for the tail light, or the license plate light. That one over here, and then probably there was another one here that's missing, and then over this side for the bulbs. So those aren't working at all. That's pretty cattywampus stuff, probably from the high rail gear. Huh. So well, let's see what this light does, if it's power for parking lights. If it needs to connect, and it needs to be for that. I don't know. I'm going to figure that out right now. So I got the parking lights on. If my calculations are correct, we ground out this wire right here, we're to here, we should see some voltages. Yeah. Not much. Oh, there we go. $12.2. So that right there is our wire for our rear bumper lights, license plate lights. So we're gonna have to figure out something to do with that, but it still doesn't explain what is going on with this freaking taillight situation. Now, I gotta see where these things ground at. The harness has got to ground somewhere. I just don't know where it grounds out at. Maybe it grounds up in the housing? I don't know. I might have to figure that out. Well, back up here, topside Jones here, the taillight housing is now out. And you can see the ground is right there. Maybe you can see it. Let me grab a light. So, maybe now you can see it. Ground is right there. So it looks pretty rough. Looking at these wires here too, you know, they are pretty brittle. I don't like, I don't know if you can see that, it's cut, that one and this one. It's been pinched before. Maybe they're arcing off on something there, causing a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and I don't love that. It's got a lot of bad brittleness in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this stuff up. I don't know, it's not much, it's wiring. See if that makes a difference. All right, so that's weird. I literally undo the ground and the backup beeper starts going. What is going on here? Well, just turn the power off. You can see it's pretty corroded up in there. Try to clean this up the best I can or find another one. And then this eyelet, same, it's got some corrosion on it. All right, so new ground. Well, not really new, but cleaned up. I put a new bite washer in there, cleaned up the paint on here, and I cleaned up the edge of that nut. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this wire. Looks like it's got a couple good breaks in it. Same thing with this one. I'm gonna just check out all these other ones and see if they're good, bad, I don't know. And we'll just go from there. All right, to give an idea of how bad this wire actually was on the other side there, you can see it's got those little nicks in it and the little cracks, and yeah, that's not long for this world. So that's what we're replacing, is these little chunks that are doing that. This side again, someone has been into the other side or the one side or the other, because we have now, instead of Torx like we did on the other side, we got Phillips. So if I'm not mistaken, the Phillips are stock, but you just never know anymore. Never know. That's why we have self-tappers. Right. Now, this side is a little bit more muddy. But the wires actually feel a lot better. I don't see a ground on this side, so I'm half wondering is if the other side is where the ground is for both taillights. I don't know. I'm probably gonna think on it here for a minute, because my thought now is the ground wire is probably broke between here and there, or Something's going on there. Which would explain why when the ground was undone over there, the backup beeper went off. What is up with this? Backup bulb. Well, let me try to clean up the sockets and see what that does. All right, so if you ever got to clean out a socket or something where it's kind of hard, you get a piece of sandpaper, 120 usually works pretty well. Doesn't matter, just grab something abrasive and stick it in there. Has some good metal on metal contact. You don't want to break your finger off like I've about done 4 or 5 times. You can use a screwdriver or something else, but your goal is to get the contacts inside here nice and clean and free of corrosion. Now that also goes for the 2 that are down there as well. They have to have good contact with the bottom of the bulb, and if they don't have contact, they're not going to work. So the way that these dual filament bulbs work for the tail lips is one's for the parking light, goes through one side here and grounds on the same as the blinker, and as you can guess, the other power one's the blinker from the flasher. So that in a nutshell is how this works, and there are a couple different bulbs. And my issue might have been I had a 2057 in there, which was this one. We may need 1157. I don't know what the hell the difference is, honestly, other than maybe wattages or something. Filaments. I don't know. But either way, we're going to check them out, make sure they both work. And to check to make sure the bulb works, you can multimeter it out. Make sure you got it set to ohm settings right there. And as you can see, you go like this, obviously it ohms it out. You touch one side to the ground of the bulb, and then you ground out the other side, and if the meter does a thing, you know, it's good. So you can see that we're touching this one. This bulb is no good because the meter is not doing anything. But when we go to the side, it is good. So this bulb is junk. We're going to throw that away. All right, let's see this 1157 here. It's kind of loose on the glass, but that's okay. Still good on that filament. Good on that filament. So we got a good working bulb. Let's go ahead and jam it in here. Just want to make sure not to ruin it. Like so, and give it a twist, and that's, I didn't like how this bulb twisted because the glass is not good from the, you know, what am I trying to say? The brass piece here, the glass, it twisted, it's not good. So we might have to find another 1157, but let's see what this does first. That's working. And when our headlights are on, no, it's still just on. Coming on though. It's almost like we don't have enough load on the system to flasher it. because it's the way the flashers work is they heat up, which doesn't make any sense because when it's off, it works. Maybe the flasher's bad. I'll have to look. Okay. So, flashers are not the problem. I've had the one in it's working just fine. Tried changing out this, 3 of them, same results. And even went and grabbed the electronic one out of the Impala that works really well and still has the same results. So we got something going on here when the headlights or parking lights are on. So it either leads me to believe that the front lights or even the headlight switch is starting to be the culprit now. I have a headlight switch. Maybe I'll dig it out and look at that right now, because this is really starting to frustrate me. All right, so this wire right here, we're going to run it from the front by the cab all the way to the back of the truck. And in it, it holds a bunch of different colored wires. We're just going to utilize one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. But this way we'll have extra power back there, or wires if we want to run additional lighting, you know, something. And it's in this nice little container already ran. We're not running additional wires. So that's what we're going to run. The backup beeper is going to be probably on whatever the center one is, which looks like it's black, I guess. So we'll utilize that one and we'll get it tucked up nice and neat so it's up out of the way. And we'll run it up in the cab. All right, so I got that all wired up. I got to get another little clip and clip that wire up a little bit better. It's ran all the way to the front. I ran it on the clips that the rear tail light harness is on. And it now comes up out of here through the firewall. Best part is now we put it into reverse and we got our wires. We'll put this on a strip. And we come back here, and now if we don't want it, we still got our backup lights fully functioning on there. So it's kind of nice. We'll go get a switch. I don't know where we're going to mount that. We still got a lot of stuff to do in here. Figure out where it's going to be the cleanest. But yeah, we'll just figure out where we can. It's not a good ground. That's better ground. Where we can ground it out, get that thing to work. Yeah, so I'm gonna go order up, I think, that switch. Got some other parts I gotta order up as well. All right, so now we're moving on. We got that all done. I got my parts ordered up. We got to see if this dang old truck will run. Now, we know it's got fuel. Fuel pump kicks on. We've got fuel pressure. But we don't have any spark. The reason we wouldn't have any spark is because either the cam position sensor or the computer doesn't have VATs. And I'm willing to bet that the computer's not set up correctly. Well, what do you mean by not set up correctly? Well, that's where the computer is right then and there. And I sent that off to get its VATs, the vehicle anti-theft system, disabled. You need to do that in order to have the system basically not get stolen. So I think that is what is our point of triggering, not letting the actual motor fire up. However, we do have one that does fire up and run. Right there, Angus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pull the computer out of Angus. We're going to put it into this truck. We're just going to plug it in and see if it fires up. If it fires up, then we know it's the computer. I'll send it back off either to, I'm probably going to send it to PCM for less and have them take care of it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. All right, so I haven't driven Angus here in a little bit. Got it off for the year for insurance because I want to get a bunch of stuff buttoned up that's been bothering me. Probably do a Craigslist rebuild. I don't know why. It looks like we got an oil leak that's all of a sudden formed on the valve covers. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know. But anyways, we're going to steal the computer out of it, make sure that it works. First I'm going to do is unhook the positive side of my battery cables. So these are all done. Why are you doing that? Just get it back on there. You know, it's not corroded out because of Vaseline. And we got our computer really accessible right here. Okay, so we got 7mm here. Should be the blue-red connector. Yes, blue-red connector, so this computer will work for what we need it to do. So let's go ahead and finish taking it apart and go throw it in the green truck. So now the other thing we could do is, even if this computer doesn't work on that truck and we're still troubleshooting it, we can at least put that computer into Angus and fire it up and see if it works, because we know this one runs. So let's get this in. Okay, so we got that unplugged. Let's see, blue, red, blue. Let's see, you're gonna be blue, so you're gonna be down here. All right, so Angus's computer is now in there. What about spark? Oh, we got spark? Let's put you guys up there, see if we got spark. All right, so eyeball that. Let's see if we got some spark. Any spark? So as you can tell, and there's no spark there, so probably cam position sensor is going to be the next likely culprit. That's kind of a good thing. That way I gotta take that computer back out and then resend it back into wherever. But cam position sensor, now that's got to come out. So I guess I'm gonna take it out of a good known working engine that I have over here on the shelf. I'm not pulling it out of Angus, but that one engine that we originally had in Angus here before, it ran, and I didn't change out the sensors. So let's pull that one out and see, swap them out and do the swap-a-rooney and see if we can get this thing to fire up. All right, so camshaft position sensor, you may have seen this in the background, but this right here is an LS for, I don't know, one of the LS swap doodabbers we have. So we're gonna steal the camshaft position sensor out of it. Now that I'm looking, no we're not, because it is already missing. Camshaft position sensor will go right here, and goes right here. So maybe I did buy a new one and put it onto the Angus. So that sucks. Well, let's just make sure we're plugged in back here. Oh, do you see it? I can't. No. Yep, there's a wire back there and looks like it might be plugged in. So I'm gonna triple, quadruple check to make sure it is. I think honestly this is the same problem I had with Angus when I started it. So maybe I'll see if I got one at the Hardmore store and then we'll go from there. So Parts Store doesn't have one here handy. Not available till tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the computer back into Angus and I'm gonna put this all back together. And then we're gonna work on something else because I'm not done with working on this stuff today because I got a lot of shit I gotta do to this thing. All right, battery's hooked back up, computer's put back in place. Let's see if Angus still runs. If not, you know, it's not gonna be a good day. Yes. No issues there. Okay. So that's at least some good encouraging news. That Angus still runs. So we're going to get that cam position sensor on order and we're going to work on some other stuff now on the truck. Well, back from the store, I got some hose I was going to run my overflow with. I got the little fitting that I needed for the steam vent that goes down to the head. So that's all installed now. Now just trying to figure out the overflow, and my bottle that I was going to use isn't going to work. I was going to mount it in this area, but it's a little too big. So I'm going to simplify it, make it small, and I'm going to do like what the hot rodders do. And I'm going to use this glass bottle here, and probably going to mount it somewhere like right here, just kind of small out of the way. You know, overflow bottles don't need to be that real full or used. They're just that, they're overflow. So if your coolant level's set right, your overflow bottle is just an expansion tank. So this should be fine. It's got a nice little lid on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make something that clamps to the neck. I'm gonna bolt it to there and then we'll secure it with some rubber, I guess, so it doesn't shatter the glass. But it's pretty heavy duty glass is what I'm gonna use here. Well, next weekend, and you saw there's a random plane flying over. That is what we came up with for that overflow bottle. It's secured, it's gonna move, it's gonna vibrate, it's got some flex, we got a little strap, it's got the hose going over to the radiator to do its expansion stuff. I did get a new cam position sensor in. I'm gonna go ahead and install that and we'll see if this thing fires up. Fingers crossed. Okay, old one's out, new one's in. Really simple. You just kind of undo the 10 mil, kind of finagle them a little bit, kind of wiggle them back and forth, but pop in, new one goes in just like that, 10 bolt, plug it back in. Real simple. It's just a pain because it's on the back of the block and you're straddling your stuff. So let me set you guys up, see if we got spark now, maybe a little fire. I don't know. Let's figure it out. So one of two things is going to happen. This will either start sparking because it's the spark and line thing, or it's actually going to fire up. So either or I'm happy with. Let's see what it does. Okay, well, apparently we don't have a good enough connection on the battery. Or the battery's dead. Probably loose connection. Statue of Liberty. Where the hell did I put my little thing? Straighten this up. You think that's tight enough? Hopefully the battery's not dead. I don't know. Stop. No. Well, I can't even believe it. I'm guessing the battery's dead. All right. Yeah. We ain't gonna get much juice from that. So it's got some kind of a draw on it. Huh. Let's go pull the battery out of Angus and see if we can use that. So I don't know what's up with that battery. It won't take a charge, won't take a jump, so maybe it's a bad battery. Anyways, got the one from Angus in here. It's not ideal because it's just kind of, I had to do, you know, special for Angus. So we'll figure out another battery situation here, but let's see if we got spark. Okay, again, watch right down there. We're gonna watch, make sure that flashes. Let's see what it does. Okay, so now then on to the next one we're going to do is the crank position sensor. Because we did the camshaft position sensor. Crank sensor is this one right here, another 10 millimeter. Same deal, I think. The unfortunate thing that sucks, I got to take the starter out again. But let me get after this. Let me make sure it's plugged in first. Yeah. Well, most definitely you can hear I got the engine turned on to the on position. Starter's removed and it was plugged in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to test those wires out. All right. Multimeter on, switch to 20. Let's see. I don't know which one's ground, which one's not. That's good. Well, let's just ground it to the block here. Ground it to the block here. Let's see if we got power. Should have power at our starter. Wire back here. Yep, reading some voltages. We got, yeah, 11.96. So in theory, you start prodding this wire, you should get the same. So I don't know which one's which. I'm gonna start seeing if I got power here. That one's got 4.99 volts. Okay. Let's see what this red one's got. I mean, it's good we got power to it anyway. Let's start. Nothing. And 1. So we got 4.99 volts. I don't know if that's how much that sensor needs or not. I gotta go check out the forums. You know, lt1forum.com. No, lt1swap.com. Well, as legend has it, apparently some sensors are 5, some are 12. I don't know. I got 5. I also have the ground. How long is this freaking bolt? Jeez. So I'm just gonna pop it off. And I'm gonna check it. Like all YouTubers now are starting to wear gloves and, you know, hearing protection and safety glasses. And it's like, you know what? I get it. You want to be safe. Cool. Wear the right kind of chemical gloves, though, bro. Don't wear those latex gloves when you're trying to put your hand in gas. They're just going to melt. I need a wire screwdriver. Supposed to pry on this. I don't know how you're supposed to get it out otherwise, but not prying, twisting. Probably just do that. That's what I'm finna do. Out. Let's go test it. So I'm not the brightest guy when it comes to anything, really. But I know a little bit about electrical, and I can kind of figure stuff, for the most part, out. Here's the old sensor. You notice we got it on ohm setting, so we touch these together. We get some ohm reading because it's continuity. So this being the old sensor, I touched, and now mind you, I have no idea what I'm doing on this sensor here, because all my, you know, I usually just reference a YouTube video. And they're all like foreign AI, not really what I need kind of stuff. But if I put the ground to the left and the ground to the, or the positive to the right, you can see, what does that jump up to, like 5 point, I don't know, it was just there. There it is. Something like that. There you go. Okay. You would think, brand new sensor, exactly the same. If I do the same exact procedure, we should get something on there. So, black terminal to the left, red terminal to the right, and look, nothing. 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 Put it on the middle one, nothing. Nothing. Outside one, middle one, we get nothing. So what I'm thinking is either this sensor is bad, that's brand new, or the old sensor we just pulled out is bad, and it's just reading that. So, I don't know. We'll put in the new one and see what it does. Because curiosity got the best of me. Pulled the same one out of that motor that's sitting over there, and the one that came out of this motor, and that one, they're exactly the same. They got that 5.2, 5 point something like that. So I'm thinking the new part that I just got is wrong. It don't work. Good. That's great. So, moving on, I guess. We'll put the old one back in. Old one back in. I'm also gonna shield the wires down there because I don't want them melting. Okay, well, let's see what the old good old tester says there. Maybe we'll get some spark now. Who knows? I don't know. I'm lost. I'm gonna work on something that's not gonna make me so lost. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna come work on something that I can do. Got these in, license plate lights. Got one installed already, and looks pretty nice. Had to go ahead and replace these clips because the other ones were broken. Now the way that these work out is a little unique. Well, not really unique, but why is the lens so dirty? It's basically the same. The body is the ground, and then of course that wire coming out is your power. But trying to ground it to the bumper, it could be a little bit of an issue. So what I did is I made a ground wire with an eyelet, and this is gonna run up underneath here, and it's gonna ground out right there. And then we'll get a good connection here to ground. I already got this one in here on the bottom, so that way the housing has got a nice good ground to it. And here's what it looks like up in there. So yeah, that'll come through there. We'll just have to hook the power up, do that to both sides, and we should be good. I might just reutilize up the self-tapper that's right in front of my face, but we'll see. All right. License plate lights are installed. It's got to button up the wiring underneath here, and that's good. Check that one off the list. Well, here I am again underneath the truck. Figured it's time to kind of address this issue. You can see we have a soft line that's not soft lining. Right here that would go something like that, and then of course this piece is missing to there. Now, I did get a new soft line, so we are going to replace from there here. But this line, as they all do, is very sketchy. So I think I got to replace about 2.5 feet. There's a union just to my left here. Comes all the way up and over, and we'll just remake that piece into here, into the soft line. Hopefully those lines are okay. Looks like this one was replaced at one time, but I'm not gonna do anything with it unless I have to. Now, the soft line is gonna require, it looks like, distribution block removal to get it out, and you can see, I don't know, maybe it's caked in grease. Similar to this, you know, it's supposed to have, but it's there. So this truck was leaking stuff for a very long time. So I'm gonna get the wire wheel out, try to get that cleaned up, and hopefully it comes apart. And I think while I'm underneath here, we're gonna check the diff fluid, make sure that is good, because I'm here, why not? You don't invest in these lights from Goodwill with all the flexibility and stuff on them. What are you doing? Why not? Works out pretty well. High speed. All right. Right in everyone's face. What does that look like? 13. Probably. Did Christopher grab a 13? I think he did. How about that? 1/2 inch for the slow. So, do I want to knock this off first, or do I want to try to break those? Let's knock this loose. Leave it in there. Maybe, hopefully, we can get in there. Break those loose. What size are those lines? Are they the 3/8 flavor? Yep. A little bit of the Penn Trent. We might be using the heat heat method on this. I think we will. I think we will. What the other side? You gonna come off? Oh yeah, that one came off. Well, that's nifty. Makes it that much easier. Well, the famous YouTubers call it brake line roulette. Something like that. Alright, let's see if we can get this one. Oh. Did I strip it or did it go? I think I stripped it. Oh, yeah, stripping it. Huh. Well, I think we'll get the heat on that one, see what that does. Maybe it'll help. Burn down the truck. Let a bit of heat down there. Blast down there. Maybe it'll soak into it. Alright. What are we gonna get now? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Gonna strip. Yeah. So that's gonna strip it out. Good thing there's long enough line. Hopefully we can just reflare that end and do it up, Buttercup. All right, let me go grab that cutoff tool. All right, so back from the parts store, got the old one off, got new fitting put onto that line there. Trying to figure out what one of these was going to work. I was going to use a short one and connect it from that rubber hose to a little bracket that was back there, but that was a union I didn't want to have, so I ended up just getting the actual piece off that comes from the frame. I'm going to take this longer one, it's really flexible, and we're going to just kind of bend it to that shape and then leave some length over here because, as I mentioned, I didn't want to have another union rate there because this line is pretty shitty. Usually they rot out somewhere around these clips as well. So convenient union was right there. So I just did it up. So let's bend it up. Well, there it is. You know, professional brake line bender here. Chip Fuchs, eat your heart out. We got some length here, so we'll figure out where that needs to be. I'm going to cut it after it's already up in the truck, which is good. But I am going to flare this fitting on right now because it's easier to do it sitting on my ass in the garage here versus under the truck. So that's my flare kit tool. I have very similar to the one that you could buy from Harbor Freight, which looks like this, but I'm going to tell you this one is honestly shit. Same thing with the little presser. I've had this one now for a long time. I don't even remember where I got it from, but it's the same principle, but you just get it on here, get it to your size. Of course, we're bending up 1/4 inch lines. The one on the truck was a 3/8 we did earlier. Get whatever size you're doing, put it on there, get it. I think I gotta sink this down just a hair more, but you get it where it needs to be, and you press this on. So Don't bother with the junk one from Harbor Freight. Invest in a decent one because flare tool kits are good. I just have it around because these are like springies to put on, like the tubes to put bends in them, but even they don't work that great. There's the end product. It's in there. It's nice. Make sure to put this on before you flare because you're going to be cutting it and doing it again. I think it double flares when you have it out as far as I did. You push it down and then you sink it up and smush it in there more. I don't know. It's hopefully gonna just be good enough for what we're doing, which I'm thinking it's going to be because they haven't let me down yet. So when I get this off, you can see we got a nice flare, and of course our piece is gonna get on there and screw on just well. Now you gotta watch it on some of these steel lines. You try to flare them in there too far out, you're gonna split the line and defeat the whole purpose. And if you use that cheap Harbor Freight one, you're basically gonna do that on every single one of your flares. So just don't use that damn thing. All right, I'm gonna go put this back in, cut it to length, and we'll get it buttoned up. All right, so essentially that piece, that's the frame rail here like so. Kind of had a little kick out. We'll get it to where it makes the most amount of the sense. We're gonna want it behind that little thing. If I can get it back there. You know, something like this. So exciting here at Two Saw Garage. I know. Content is just amazing. That's why I have so many subscribers and you can retire, you know. So I'm not going to tighten it up quite yet because we might need to make some adjustments on there, because you can see where it just covered up right here was where the original hangers were. And what I'm going to use is these little rubber setup doodabbers. Probably is going to end up living like that. I should be able to take the stock bolts. No, I'm going to have to do something. Go grab different ones and put them on there. We'll do that now, I guess. Yeah. You know, as I was just saying, enlarge the hole out because all of them seem to be the same size. So, yeah, we just got to make it work for GM materials. So now it's going to work. So, these little rubbers are going to be our holder thingies for the thinger and thing it, which, come on, actually provides a nice little rubber grommet around the line. Get a nice little fit going on there. This one started. OEM hardware. You never knew it happened. So the other one was this. I think we can use this somewhere else, but we'll just put it back in its home up over here. And then we got that bend. Put it up and then bend. Bet you guys didn't realize I'm such a good fabricator, did you? You know, fabricate the world. Arthritis hurts. Oh. I had an audition for Monster Garage back, 20 years ago, but they thought I was too good to be on the show, so they said, nah, we don't want you showing up our star, Mr. Jesse James. Monster Garage. Monster Garage. You got enough wiggle room in there still? Yeah. Perfect. So now, I'm gonna get this all fitted up and we'll just cut the line over here. We'll cut it over here where it's gonna fit. We'll put our tuber in there and hook everything back up over there, and we should be ready to go. Let's see, 1/4 inch here, where are you at? Right there. 1/4 inch in your face. In my face, not yours. Probably back of my head is what you just saw. You know I'm a good singer too. Yeah. I was on America's Got Talent. I think that was the one that I was on back in like 2000 when it came out, you know. All right. Double flare this one. You get it started just to bow it out a little bit. Then you loosen this up. And then you bring it up to there, and then you squish, tighten it back up, and then you put it back on. I don't know, it's not probably a double flare. I'm probably just an idiot, like always. But we'll mash it in to the daggone die anyway. And hopefully, yeah, hopefully, I think I might have split it. No, that's good. All right, a little bit of service. You don't want to get too crazy. By the way, I had to put 2 E-clips on this hose because it didn't come with a single one. And you would think that would be one of the things that would be on here, and the E-clips are right here. Oh, wrench, dummy. I just had it. What did I do with it? No, it's not 3/8. Oh, where's my wrench at? As I was saying, the E-clips are right here. And you would think the company that makes these lines would want to have those E-clips in there, because this is one of those replaceable things, but apparently not. So, but now we got solid new line all the way up to this union up here, and then here. And now the next problem is going to be trying to get those bleeders off, which they've been soaking for a while, but we'll worry about that when it's time to bleed the brakes, because my neck's supposed to be where there's a drive shaft, and drive shaft people haven't called me yet. Shocking. But as I mentioned, since we're under here, we're going to check out the diff fluid. So if you don't know, diff fluid's got a plug right here. If it's dirty, clean it up. This one looks like it has been well opened and closed many times. But what you do, you take a 3/8 socket and put the socket extension in there, and then the socket wrench, and that's how you actually get the plug off. Now, I've had to do it where I've had to sacrifice a extension, which we might be doing that on this one. What is going on? It looks like so much snap going off in there. Or I've actually had to weld these on the plug. Yeah. You can attempt to just use the socket wrench itself, but that seems kind of, it may work for our angle that we got here. Oh, got it. Got it. Now the question is, do we have any in there? I'm gonna put some anti-seize on this for the next guy anyway. Oh, it's dripping out. It's clean. That's really clean. So that's about where it wants to be. Huh. All right. Well, let me get some anti-seize on this and put it back in. A little bit of the Tin Man's favorite right there to keep it from getting stuck all in there. Yeah, that fluid looks nice and clean. Doesn't smell burnt. It smells like gear oil. It's dripping out of the fill, so that's good. It's not dripping out of the back. I'm sure it probably has some pretty regular service intervals, judging by the wear on that thing, but cool. I think that's about all I can do from underneath here for right now. Oh boy. Well, I'm back up top. I do have a full exhaust that I want to get started to get put on this truck. Of course, it's just a custom fabricated one. That's a bunch of universal parts we're gonna make work. But I want to hear it run, and it's been boggling my mind to get this thing running. And I gotta go back to the basics. And I got no spark. So I'm gonna check there. I'm gonna actually pull off the coil packs, excuse me. Make sure I have, I think, ground at least. Make sure we got continuity with the ground. And then I'm gonna pull off the power side and probe it, see if I got power to those as well. Because that's all you need on that is power, ground, then they should spark. But we got no spark. We verified that it's not the VATS issue because we took Angus's computer, which was running in a 5.3, and put it into this car, which is a 5.3 truck, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to start over there. I'm going to start checking out continuity on the grounds. Other thing is I read the constructions there for the wire harness. Maybe the ignition wire is not getting a crank power when it's cranking. So we might have to just jumper that out. So I'm going to get into that. Because it's always the grounds. Usually what I found out. 1 1 makes 3. Keep on living. Curious world. Da-na-na. Huey Lewis, you don't know. And the news. Alright. Multimeter, it's going to be on continuity checking, which is ohm setting, horseshoe setting, whatever you want to call it. Recap, like I've said many times. The cameraman can zoom in right there. You see, you touch this, and now you got complete circuitry, and that changes from 1 to 0. That means your wire is complete from point A to point B. Now, why is that important? Because you can test a wire from one end to the other, or in this case, we can probe our ground side on the coil pack, which should always have ground all the time, and then we can touch it any ground, even this master cylinder here, and we should have continuity through there telling us that yes, we have a good ground setup through our coil pack. So coil pack side, plug it, doesn't matter which side you do. Now I'm gonna pull it out. And you look at the back side, you're gonna see a black wire. Black is ground, if you hadn't noticed. So in theory, we should probe this prong right there. Doesn't matter which black or red you use, doesn't matter on this. Should be that one right there. And now, when we touch it to a ground, which I got a ground right here, it should be a complete circuit. And it is. It goes down to, well, it's got a little 0.1, 0.0. So we know that the computer harness is grounded properly, which that's good and bad. But now we just got to figure out spark, positive side. So let me do some wire investigation here and see which one of these wires is our positive, because most likely we can get positive, which is going to be good because then we'll trace it back to that fuse block. Maybe it's getting positive with the key on, but not when it's cranking. All right, so I'm coming back here reading all this. All the connectors are over here, connected to mass airflow sensor, fuel injector. We want to look and see right-hand coil, left-hand coil, because we're on the left hand, so we need to look at 12. So we're going to have a black, red, dark green, brown, light blue, purple, and pink. So I'm going to go through, figure all this out, probe them out, see what they do, make sure they're actually operating properly. Got a little check complete. Tell us we're check it off so we don't go a little crazy. So I'm going to get into this now. Well, you would think that I would trust in my Harbor Freight battery charger to do its job, but it didn't. It was on charger for a week and it's, battery was dead. So now I got the Harbor Freight trickle charger on the battery and the battery is completely dead. So we really can't even go in and actually test out our positive side of that. So to keep the wheels moving and the feet kicking, I guess now I'm going to start working on the exhaust system. So as I mentioned, I got 2 boxes of a bunch of random mass parts, so I'm going to lay them all out and see what they look like. All right, laid out on the floor here, you can see there's a bunch of different pipes and doodabbers and whatever else, and yeah, so it was 2 kits, universal. One had like 2 straights and all those bends in it. The other one had like 4 straights and all those bends. Some kind of Summit type knockoff, I don't know, performance mufflers, Flowmasters, I guess. And of course a bunch more bends and stuff. And then up here I got some header flanges. Now the original setup here with the headers that we bought came with this style, which is a welded on permanent fix, straight down, same thing that Angus has. And got a provision for an O2 sensor if we choose to use it. Reason I went and bought these as well, because you can see that the flangeway is not hooked up and it's actually what they call a ball and pivot style, so we can kind of move and get our angles better with these versus this. Now if these work out, great. If not, I think we're going to just use these Hedman header setups. But either way, we got that. We're going to come down off of the truck here, kind of probably 45, and then kind of shoot it back. And that's where these 45s will come into play. Go into a straight piece, kind of determining on where the mufflers want to set and where they want to live. I'm going to start from the front, work my way back. On the truck itself, as you can see, that's about where it's going to come down here, so it's going to be a little bit further here. I don't like the fact that the mufflers are going to be right under here. I want them to be back more over here, so we might have to add some of this pipe length to here. But also, I have this little kick up because on the frame itself, it actually does a little bit of that kind of, you can see, kick up towards the back. So we want to tuck it up in a way that'll help us prevent it from getting too crazy and seeing stuff. Like when you look at the truck from the side, you're not going to see exhaust hanging down. I want it to be tucked up under there. So we're going to kind of go straight, do a little bit up, follow the frame back here. If there's enough kick up, we might be able to get away with doing up and over the axle, because this is a solid axle with leaf springs. It's not going to move as much. So we're not going to have the big giant loops here, the U's, like you would see like on like the Impala. But they are available if we need to use them. But we'll kind of kick it up and around over the rear end here and just see. And then as we get back towards the back, I haven't really decided how to kick it out yet. Traditionally, they're just really do a 90 and they shoot off the side, off the exhaust spot there. I don't know, we might do that. We might do a 45. All depends on what it looks like when we get back there, but gonna work from the front, work my way back. All right, currently our setup here, got the dual pipes pretty well in here, just kind of loosely, of course, with jack stands. All in all, not good bad. I'm gonna cut a pipe from this muffler over, and then we're gonna start building the kickovers for the rear exhaust to go over the axle here. In order to do that, I got this chop saw. I used to be cutting this stuff with just a sawzall or cutoff wheel, which is a pain. Hopefully this makes my life a hell of a lot better. So I'm gonna start by measuring out. I need 25 inches on this piece of pipe here to get where I need to, and then we'll chop it up. Oh, okay. Sure. Have stuff all over so you trip over it. Way to go, Idaho. Just like that, I got me a piece of pipe. Yay! Well, I'm back out here again. I'm trying to diagnose this damn thing because I want to hear this thing run. It's about time. So let me walk you through what I did thus far today. I open up the manual, troubleshooting instructions. Actually, you go through, read everything. It tells you to reference table 2, which is all the wiring stuff. Went through and checked off all this stuff. Just as reference, and I just going through checking it off. What I went through and said, hey, on the interwebs, which one of those do I have to have plugged in for spark and for fuel pulsing? Because I got my node light out, and with the node light hooked up, we still don't have any pulse for the fuel injection. So fuel injection and spark, we don't have it. So I'm thinking, what sensors actually go through and do that? First one that I came across, it says possibly yes, is this engine temp sensor setup. It's the one located here in the side of the block. You can see I have it hanging. I went and got a new one because when I pulled it out, I tested the wire, pig, it's good. When I tested the actual sensor itself out, I ohmed it out. It's actually ohming at like 4.7 something, and it needs to be between 1 and 2. So possible culprit, yes. Went and got a new one, put it on, still nothing. So it's that one's good though. That probably would have caused us problems in the future. So thankfully that is good to go. So the next one I went back to is back to the driver's side, coolant temp sensor over here. I never had it plugged in, and I plugged it in just for the sake of plugging it in, and it's still not giving me any spark or any of the blinkings on the node light. So then I went back to the table there, camshaft position sensor, crank sensor. Well, on the crank sensor, that's the one that's on the side of the block on the starter. I went through and tested all the wires and everything on that, tested the sensor. That one is good. However, I did not go through and test out the actual harness on the camshaft position sensor. I just went and changed the sensor out. I didn't think anything of it. Brand new harness, checked it out. So I came up here, pulled the harness off, and checked out the 3 wires. The green one on the right, that is 12 volts when the ignition's on. The middle one is going to be your ground, which ground works out. This blue one over here is the signal wire. Now the signal wire, when it's actually on there, ignition on, it's going to have like 4, 5 volts, something like that. And the way that it works is, as the cam's spinning, it actually interrupts that, changes it, and that's what actually gives the pulse. So the way you test these out is you hook them up to a power source and you put a little metal screwdriver or something towards the end, and the power on that outside one over here should change, because what you're doing is you're going through and actually interrupting that 4.5 volts, whatever it is, you're interrupting that as the metal comes closer, as the camshaft is spinning, changing it. I was getting 0 volts on that wire. That's not good. So that tells me that, okay, maybe something between, and the harness is bad now, to the PCM. So the step I'm at now is, I've gone through and I ran that wire all the way to the inside of the cab, all the way over here, and I actually pulled the blue connector out of the PCM right here. Number 73 on our connector here is this brown wire that is right here. This comes all the way down, goes to our camshaft position sensor. So what I just performed on it was a continuity test. If you don't know what a continuity test means, it's complete. So you take your multimeter, you basically touch it, and it says, yeah, it goes from point A to point B with no interruptions. If there's a break in the wire, if there's stretched out, if something like that's wrong, you're not going to get a constant circuit, and it's going to cause problems. So we only had not even any voltages on the other end where the wire was. So what I did is I came through and I completed the circuit by adding this wire. And then when I come underneath the engine harness, back under the compartment here, the multimeter is set to continuity or horseshoe mode, ohm settings. And when you touch the wires together, complete the circuit, you can see that the multimeter changes. Now, in theory, with my loop wire over here and my other end right here, we should be able to touch here on the harness, and then when we touch this wire over here, it should complete the circuit, which you can see it is not. So we have to run a new wire from pin 73 back of the computer through the harness, back up to here, tied into there, so we get continuity, because we should, by rights, have a running engine by now. But that will cause us to not. So I'm going to triple check some stuff out here. I'm going to go to my scrap harness. I have another pin connector, and we will repin this setup. So I think I might have got it figured out. Let me show you. At least one. All right, we'll just start here. Crank sensor. It says it's got a dark blue, yellow, green. Dark blue, yellow, green. However, that's for the cam position sensor, which that ain't right. So if we come up here and look at the actual cam sensor, now it says brown, pink, red. There's 3 wires there as well. However, pin 73 on the back of our harness here, that was plugged in 73 for the cam position. Crank position is 12. Anyways, so then I went and looked at pin connector number 12. Lo and behold, when I did the continuity test from the front, it went back to our cam shaft position sensor. So the crank and cam signal wires were flopped, is what I'm getting at. So What I'm doing here is I already got 73 plumbed back in. This blue wire, that's the one that goes to our camshaft position sensor, which is now into spot number 73. And in the process of putting this brown wire, which I hope is the right wire, into spot number 12 on our harness here, pin connector, and hopefully I can get this in here. You know, I've pinned these out before, but hopefully getting that into spot number 12, putting it back together, plugging it in. That should, in theory, at least work, because I'm just hoping they got flopped. Now, if that got flopped, Lord knows what else got flopped in this harness. Oofta. So I'm going to throw this back together, slide that in, I'll bring it back in, we're ready to fire. Okay, I'm going to turn lights off, so hopefully that'll flash. Fingers crossed anyway. Fingers crossed. Doubtful. See? Doubtful. No changes. So I know the computer is turning on because my OBD2 scanner, I plug it in and actually reads codes. So the computer's firing up. I pulled the cam position sensor off again, and we're still not getting any voltage on that blue wire that was flopped. So I don't know. I gotta do some digging. So I'm racking my brainium. Throttle position sensor is apparently on the same circuit, according to the interwebs. And it's not working. I swapped PCMs. Got the one from Angus back in here. And we are still not showing having voltage on this damn signal wire. Nothing. Oh. Did we? I better know. I saw 4 there for a second. I wonder. Is that going to be a good enough ground? Yep. I don't think so. I do think that I'm going to actually pull the actual computer out of this now and put it in Angus, see if Angus starts. Just to verify that that's not the issue. Because you can see Angus's computer is here now and the other one's up there. So let's go put that one in Angus and see what it does. So here we are in the carport. Angus is kind of getting stored for winter. We're gonna go put the 88 computer in here now. It's all blue, red connector, green, red, whatever. We just want to see if this will actually fire up. Fire! Fire up! there you go. It's not the computer. Wire harness on this, I've gone through just about 30% of the connectors. The major ones that I need for this thing to run: cam position sensor, crank sensor, idle air sensor, mass airflow sensor, fuel injectors, coil pack. They're all like gone through and multimetered out. There were some that were totally wrong. I got 2 extra wires I can't figure out where they came from that were initially supposed to be set up for cam position sensor. Anyways, they're right now. So we're gonna try to fire this up. I still got it set up with my, this is my ignition started. So let's go crank it and see what it does. With any luck, it'll fire up. I don't know. I don't know. So I guess my next plan of attack is, since I only did 30% of the harness, and I did find some for the main components that were wrong, I'm gonna assume that the rest are wrong too, so yay. Well, back here, green truck. Exhaust is all on. I figured out the wiring for the computer. Got most of the exhaust on, I should say. Let me show you. So we got the pipes on, the dual pipes all the way back to mufflers. I just got done doing the tailpipe side on the passenger side here. Got to still do driver's side, but turned out well. Computer, PCM, all the issues I had here was crank sensor, cam position sensor, and the map sensor. Apparently, they're different plugs, and I'm just an idiot. And 2 of them were crossed. I had map sensor crossed, crank position sensor crossed, so I figured that out. But then I go to start it and it still wasn't starting. Come to find out that my pin wires were not ABC, pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, 12, 21, 2. It was actually like C was in B spot, A was in A spot. It was just all flopped around. So I had to go through, do all these, make sure they were all good. Which I have, and I did a couple test cranks, and it fires up, but the exhaust was backfiring really loud, being that it was open headers and all. So I wanted to get exhaust on it before I tried to start it up, pretty good. So we're gonna do that now. It was puking out a little bit of transmission fluid, but that's fine. I just want to hear this thing run again. See what the exhaust sounds like. Got a backfire. Ooh. So we're getting backfire. Fuel pump's going on. It's almost like it wants to see VATs or O2s or something, and it's not. So I might go try to swap out computers and actually put the right computer back in this thing, but it ran. Sounded kind of mean when it fired too. All right, computer swapped out. Mine on Angus has O2 sensors, so we got a closed loop system. And with a closed loop system, it's gonna run like hell, but pretty sure that this one is deleted for it. It's not, but if I need to put O2 sensors in it, we'll do it. Definitely puking out transmission fluid now. Let's unhook the battery, totally kill the power, let the computer reset everything, relearn. Might just need to do a relearn. See what it does here in a little bit. Well, it's smoky. I just got done welding up the exhaust. Oofta. It wasn't that bad. But it is bad when you have a flux core welder, but it is what it is. So let me show you what it looks like. So we got both the pipes hooked up to the headers, and they run down the length of the truck. I still got to trim off my brackets to hold it. Got dual mufflers. You know, they look all right, I guess. From the mufflers, we go back. We got more brackets right here holding up. Pretty nice exhaust hangers, I guess. We got them going up and over both sides here. And then let me get to the back of the truck. Dual, like it would be from GM. Just a little pipe, and they come out both sides. So passenger side sticks out just a little bit. Kind of like what I was hoping for. Now I'm going to show you the driver's side here. And we got just a little bit sticking out over here as well. But definitely true dual exhaust all the way through. And then you can see it coming around there. I got some more hangers. I think it did all right, I guess. I mean, of course, it's flux core welded, but it's just as solid as any other exhaust system, honestly. So that solves the problem with exhaust for now. Now I'm going to work on actually getting it to run. I think we're getting close. I tried swapping out the computers. It never fired on the other computer, so what I think is I'm going to put the other computer back in that it actually did fire. I may put the O2 sensors in, plug those in, but let me think about it. I'm just going to hook everything back up and see if I can get it to fire. It's been off battery, the computer has now, for 24 hours, so let's see if it even just spits off. That'd be nice. All right, let's see what this does. Maybe it'll fire right up. So I think I'm gonna put the other computer back in that I know works, because it fired off a little bit, at least on the startup. But I'm also gonna go find some O2 sensors and put some O2 sensors in this thing. Wants to fire. What relay's clicking over there? So what I did is in the Angus, I got this little bully tuner thing, and I put it on OBD2 port, and it just tells the computer to reset and does all sorts of stuff. So that's what I just got it to do. It's fire. I'm almost wondering now if I have a relay losing power when it shouldn't be losing power. I'm gonna grab the node light out and see if my injectors are even firing, and the coils. Okay, I don't know if that node light flashes. I imagine it did, because I mean it went kaboom, but let's see. Well, we got power to that injector anyway. I'm gonna go check out the other 7 of them just to make sure. Well, I just tried changing out cam position sensor. Nada. Still doing the same thing. So it's got to be something silly. Relay's losing power. I don't know. I'm gonna look at this here. All right, so that computer's back in Angus. That's the one that I just had in the truck that it kind of fired up. It's the programmed one. Let's see if Angus fires. Okay. Now, I don't have the little port thing in here in my USB, but let's see what she does. Okay, so that's what it should do. It should finally catch itself. Let it do some thinking here. Relearning everything is what it's doing. There it goes. So I don't know, maybe I gotta change out, maybe I got a bad cam position sensor inside that engine that I swapped out. Maybe. Guess that's the next order of business. Well, she's barely firing. She's not firing on the 2 back cylinders. I checked the injector on 7 with the node light. It's firing. Now check number 8. I can't see it. That's where you come in. Let me know what you see. Probably nothing. I didn't turn the computer back on. It's got to have the computer on to actually try and fire. Try and fire. Trying to try and fire with the computer on. Like that. Now we should probably get something and probably get a little boom. Okay, what'd you see? What'd you see? So we're firing. It's probably the same issue I had with Angus. It's having a hard time running on 6. So I'm gonna dig around and see if I have any injectors. Maybe I do. I don't recall. If not, I'm gonna have to go get 2 injectors because I think those ones are probably bad. Yay. Fuel rail's out. This is number 8. I think we may have a little bit of a dirty injector there. Actually, this was number 7. A little bit of a dirt dauber going on there. Number 8. It don't look that bad. I'm almost wondering, actually that one looks worse. But I'm almost wondering with the looseness of the wire harness, if the actual wire is bad. But either way, I'm gonna go take this off. It's the little clip. And then you just simply, come on, pull them out like that. Injectors are out. The rail's gonna be full of fuel, just fly. You know, fly. So these are about $100 a piece. I'm gonna go, I don't know, I might just put this one on number 7 and see if it works, and then go get one. I don't know yet. That one's definitely bad though. That was in 7. Yeah, I'm gonna clean this one up and then go buy one injector. Well, back out here. I got the injector on that side changed out for number 8. I took the intake off. I have it just kind of laid here. I don't like it, so it's here for right now. And I swapped the one that was on number 8 because it looked decent for the one that's on 7. Hopefully we got no leaks or anything, so let's check this out. All right, fuel pump's running, building up pressure. Got no leaks. Got no leaks. All right, well, computer's on. Let's try to fire it up, see what it does. Oh, I did put the drive belt back on too. Still kind of just doing what it was doing. More. something's up still. Hey, that was the longest that it ran. That was the longest that it ran. That's good. And belt didn't come off, so that's good. All right. Well, I was looking for my temp gun, but I cannot find it. Firing, firing, firing. Oh, yeah, those are all firing on this side. So our injector is now good over here. Let's see. We got firing, ooh, firing, firing, and that one is not. So we're not firing on number 7. It's probably that. He's an injector, so let me guess get one of those and figure that out. I did also put another ground to the ground on here to help out, you know, grounds. But yeah, maybe I should try to pump fluid in the hydro boost too. So not gonna lie, that really should still run on 7 cylinders, just poorly at that, but it's not. And it's running almost like the Impala did when the idler air control was jacked up. And funny enough, we have a new idler air control on there. So I'm wondering if I could find an old one floating around and maybe that's our culprit. I don't know. Let's try to change one out. So I just tried it with the IAC unplugged, same result. So pretty sure it's what it is. And the alternator's got to come basically off to get this damn thing out. So it's out, hopefully almost, or off. I'm gonna work on getting this out. Be back when I got the new one in there. So it is the next day. Got a lot going on here. This is the idler air control that I had in there that you saw me take out. Tried taking it out of Angus, but of course I stripped out the bolts and their Torx. So that's gonna take a little bit more than just me trying to pop it off. Anyways, we got a new one on here, and those things aren't cheap. It's $125 for this damn motor. Also replaced number 7's injector because it was not bad, I guess, looking, if you will, but it is apparently not good enough to fire. So those aren't cheap. Those were $109 a piece. Anyways, so 2 new injectors, idler air control. I got the new crank sensor in. I got the old cam position sensor in there. Hopefully this combination, it fires off. I am at wit's end with this damn truck. Just saying. Oh, and also I went through and I quadruple checked the computer pinouts. Make sure those are all right. So fingers crossed. Let's see if this thing fires up. Okay, computer's live. We got, oh, is our little thing doing? Yeah, that thing's doing stuff. We're obviously not gonna use that, but I want it to run first. Oh yeah, we gotta build up fuel pressure. We should probably see if we got fuel leaks before we go too crazy. We don't want to fire. Seems to be doing the fueling things. It's not pouring back out. on the ground. All right. Still doing it. I don't know. Hot, hot, hot. We're all firing. All of them are firing. Just don't know why it's running the way it is. I don't know. Well, severe vacuum leak maybe? I just looked at the intake and I noticed that we're missing something. That little thing right there, that would be a severe vacuum leak. So I'm almost wondering is if we plug that, if the thing will fire up now. Well, in my infinite wisdom, that kit came with this little plug right there that, you know, plugs that hole off. Maybe that's what our problem is. You know, because I thought I just extra parts on the shelf and whatever. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see what it does. This running real rich too, and it's burning my nostrils. Maybe. Oh, how about that? It's the longest it's ran though. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. is alive. I got that belt put on from a 6.2 Denali, because that was actually the old belt from my 2013 Denali. Go figure. Alternator is charging. It's doing the things. We do have a little bit of an oil leak down here. Oh, down here. I don't know what is up with this Wix filter, but it's drippy. Tried snugging it up. I don't know. But we're good. Still don't have the drive shaft. I tried to put a little cap on the back here to keep it from dripping out all of its transmission fluid. But either way, this thing is officially alive. Motor sounds healthy. We still got a lot of work to do to it. Got to remount the computer back into under the dash there. Put the whole dash back together. We got to get the cooling system hooked up. Well, I mean filled up, so we can actually run it for longer than those couple 2-3 minutes with no coolant in it. Got to get the power steering fluid put in it. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do, and still have to wait for the damn drive shaft from the drive shaft people. But either way, that's going to wrap this video up. Part 2 of the 1988 Chevrolet C30 Burlington Northern truck here, 2-stall garage. Paul the Train Guy, go check him out. It's cold out. He's got his InstaSpace and grams and all that. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.